At the dawn of the 2000s, the school was a teeming microcosm. A small universe full of unexplored dreams and effervescent friendships. It was in this vibrant setting that Peter, a young man whose life until then had followed the predictable rhythm of the seasons and semesters, found himself unexpectedly entangled in the invisible threads of an overwhelming attraction. Maya, with her luminous presence, was like a shooting star crossing the night sky, leaving a trail of light wherever she went. Her smile, capable of dispelling the shadows of everyday monotony, had the gift of transforming corridors and classrooms into settings for a story yet to be written, where every glance exchanged seemed to promise infinite possibilities. Within the intimate circle of 10 friends, a diverse tapestry of characters and temperaments, Peter and Maya shared laughs, teenage secrets, and the little dramas of youth. However, for Peter, his friendship with Maya was tinged with a deeper nuance, an undercurrent of affection and admiration that he carefully concealed beneath the quiet surface of their camaraderie. He saw her not just as another friend, but as the muse of his innermost thoughts, the inspiration behind daydreams in which he allowed himself to imagine, and as yet unacknowledged us, amidst the deafening chaos of breaks and the buzz of classes. Maya's voice was a melody that stood out, a sound that Peter sought out amidst the noise, a sign that, somewhere in that tangle of daily interactions, there was a space that belonged only to them. Even if she didn't know it yet, it was a feeling he treasured, a secret shrouded in insecurities and the sweet torture of what could be. This veiled attraction, this love in the shadows of friendship, became the axis around which Peter's school life revolved. Each day brought with it the hope of a shared moment, of a smile that was just for him, of a sign, however small, that Maya might feel the same way. However, caught in the web of shyness and fear of rejection, Peter chose the safety of silence, a refuge that preserved the sweetness of his undeclared passion, but also kept him at a distance from the beating of a heart that maybe, just maybe, could beat in the same rhythm as his. As dusk gave way to the starry vastness of night, the daytime conversations between Peter and Maya found a second lease of life in the digital nooks and crannies of ICQ and, later, in the sparkling windows of MSN. In this virtual world, far from the prying eyes and cacophony of the school corridors, they built a sanctuary of words and emoticons, a space where the barriers of the conventional dissolved in the lines of text that danced across the screen. At the dawn of the 2000s, the school was a teeming microcosm, a small universe full of unexplored dreams and effervescent friendships. In this parallel universe, where every beep of a new message made Peter's heart race, conversations flowed with an ease that physical presence sometimes embarrassed. It was a ballet of characters and emojis, where the confessions of a tiring day, the inside jokes of the group of friends, and dreams for the future intertwined in a continuous dialogue, weaving the threads of an intimacy that the school environment rarely allowed. Peter, wielding the security that the partial anonymity of the screen provided, was more comfortable expressing the affection he felt for Maya. His carefully composed messages were peppered with insinuations and veiled compliments, little hints of a heart that beat stronger than the rhythm of the keys. Each long-winded good night, each how was your day, filled with genuine interest, were brush strokes of affection that Peter put on the canvas, hoping that Maya would perceive them as the colors of a deeper feeling. In those long hours of the night, while the world outside fell asleep, Peter and Maya would share laughs, advice, and, occasionally, vent, building a bridge of connection that united them beyond the boundaries of physical space. It was a constant dialogue that flowed naturally, filling the gaps in their days with each other's presence, even if only in words projected onto a screen. For Peter, these moments of digital complicity were windows into a world where he and Maya could be more than friends, more than just two students in a school full of stories. They were fragments of time stolen from routine, where he could dream of Venice that reality didn't yet allow them to be. Each closed chat session, each virtual farewell, left Peter with a mixture of satisfaction at the closeness achieved and an unquenchable thirst for what was yet to come, fueling the flame of a passion that found its most eloquent stage in the silence of the nights. William's rival in the group, with his aura of novelty and easy charisma, was like a stone thrown into the serene waters of Peter and Maya's relationship. At first, Peter observed the interactions between William and Maya with unpretentious curiosity. But this soon gave way to a growing unease as the moments of complicity between the two became more frequent. The glances they exchanged, subtly charged with unspoken intentions, were like invisible barbs that pierced the veil of denial in which Peter took refuge. The revelation of the secret kiss, a whisper that traveled through the corridors with the speed of a fire, hit Peter with the force of a gale. It was a moment of brutal revelation, a mirror that reflected not only the reality of what had happened far from his eyes, but also the uncomfortable truth of his own inaction. The fact that Maya and William had shared such an intimate moment, while he remained trapped in the web of his shyness, was a bitter lesson in the costs of hesitation. This blow not only shook the foundations of Peter's silent admiration for Maya, but also exposed the fragility of his own heart. The pain he felt was acute, a deep cut in the tapestry of dreams and hopes he had woven around Maya. More than the sadness at the loss of a possibility of love, there was the stabbing pain of regret, the torturing awareness that his own lack of courage had been a silent accomplice in the outcome of this story. In this moment of profound vulnerability, Peter was confronted with the raw reality of human emotions, a labyrinth of feelings where affection and pain intertwined in complex and sometimes painful ways. The discovery of the kiss between Maya and William was more than an isolated event. It was a turning point that forced him to face the consequences of his unmade choices, a dark awakening to the price of inertia in the uncertain game of love. In the midst of the emotional storm that raged around him, Peter felt like a ship adrift, battered by the waves of a pain he didn't know how to navigate. The revelation of Maya and William's romance was the gale that shattered the sails of his hopes, leaving him exposed and vulnerable to the currents of feelings he struggled to understand. At the crossroads of his grief, he was faced with a choice: stay and face the storm head-on, or seek refuge in a safe haven, far from the eye of the emotional hurricane that was consuming him. Peter's decision to walk away was less a conscious choice and more an instinctive reflex of self-preservation. The shadows of new friendships offered a hiding place, a place where he could try to pull himself together away from the stage of his love disappointment. These new connections, although genuine, bore the mark of a fresh start tinged with the need to forget, to put distance between himself and the source of his anguish. This retreat into unknown territories of relationships and interactions was not without its own pain. With each step backwards, with each new laugh shared with these new friends, Peter felt the weight of the unconfessed love he had left behind, a persistent shadow that accompanied him even in the brightest hours of these new friendships. It was as if, with every attempt to distance himself from what had happened, he was confronted with the wreckage of his own courage, which remained silenced when it most needed to be heard. In this self-imposed exile, Peter fought the ghost of a what-if that haunted him incessantly. The memory of Maya, and everything she represented, was a constant presence, an echo of a past that he tried in vain to leave behind. The pain of a love not lived, of words not spoken, became a silent companion, a background melody to the days that unfolded in the dimness of his withdrawal. This journey away from the epicenter of his emotional storm was marked by a search for healing and understanding, a winding path through which Peter tried to unravel the mysteries of his own heart. However, in the midst of this process of healing and discovery, he couldn't help but wonder if, by choosing the safety of distance, he wasn't also closing himself off to the possibilities that life still had to offer. This questioning, a soft whisper amidst the noise of his recovery, was a reminder that although the shadows offered refuge, it was in the light of confrontation and vulnerability that true healing could be found. As the seasons followed one another, in an endless cycle of renewals and farewells, Peter's life unfolded in a series of chapters marked by achievements and transitions. From young student to accomplished professional, each diploma and each goodbye said were like milestones on a road that took him further and further away from those days immersed in the innocence and simplicity of youth. School, with its memories of friendships and undeclared loves, became a distant, almost ethereal landscape seen through the rearview mirror of life. However, in one of those quirks of fate that seemed to play with the threads of time, a call for a class reunion emerged from the past, bringing with it the promise of reviving long-dormant connections. It was an opportunity to revisit that school microcosm, to cross paths again with familiar faces that had faded into the mists of time, under the soft light of a twilight that bathed the world in shades of nostalgia. Peter found himself once again in the same space as Maya. The reunion, although anticipated with nonchalant curiosity, turned out to be a moment full of unexpected emotions. Maya, now free from the bonds of a past relationship and glowing with an aura of independence, seemed even more radiant in Peter's eyes. And although he was accompanied by a new partner, he couldn't help but feel that the glimpse of Maya reawakened that old flame within him, a fire that he believed had been reduced to ashes by time and distance. The meeting, permeated by polite smiles and superficial conversations, was a delicate dance around the unspoken, a ballet of glances and gestures that carried the weight of a shared past. For Peter, every laugh exchanged with Maya was an echo of the days when happiness seemed so close at hand, a vivid memory of what might have been had it not been for the veil of hesitation that had shrouded his feelings at the time. Maya's presence, so close and yet so inaccessible due to present circumstances, was a poignant reminder of the choices made and the paths not taken. The reunion, although brief, left an indelible mark on Peter, rekindling the memory of a love that, despite never having been fully lived, continued to resonate in his heart with the force of an ancient melody, a song of love and loss that, even after so many years, still found ways to make itself heard. In the stillness of his most reflective moments, Peter, now a man whose features bear the soft marks of time, looks back over the complex tapestry of his life. The silver strands in his hair are silent witnesses to the seasons that have passed, each one leaving its indelible mark on his journey. In the midst of this reflection, the image of Maya, immersed in a life that runs parallel to her own, emerges like a beacon of unlived realities, a bittersweet vision that dances on the periphery of her thoughts. Maya, now rooted in a distinct existence, adorned with the roles of mother and wife, lives a life that, in some alternative universe, could have been intertwined with Peter's. The contemplation of this parallel life awakens in her. The contemplation of this parallel life awakens in Peter a whirlwind of feelings, where admiration for Maya's happiness mixes with melancholy for a future that was never shared. This duality of emotions is like background music in his life, a subtle composition that resonates in moments of silence, reminding him of the crossroads of the past. Peter and Maya's narrative, interwoven with memories of a simpler time, is punctuated by a series of what-ifs, a kaleidoscope of possibilities that remain in the realm of the imaginary. Every memory of shared laughter, every recollection of moments when their lives seemed so intrinsically connected, is tinged with an awareness of missed opportunities, of declarations of love that remain stuck in the throat, silenced by hesitation and fear of the unknown. This mosaic of unlived moments and unspoken words makes up the portrait of a love characteristic of the almost era, a love that, although never fully realized, left an indelible mark on Peter's soul. It's a constant reminder of a time when courage didn't find its way, when the fear of rejection kept Peter's heart chained, allowing fate to weave its plot without his choices interfering. Today, while Peter walks his own path, the story with Maya remains a sweet yet painful chapter, a reminder of the fragility of human hearts and the ephemerality of the opportunities that life offers. This story, although marked by the bittersweet taste of regret, also serves as a compass for the future, a guide that reminds him of the importance of living boldly, of expressing feelings before they become echoes of what could have been. In his heart, Peter harbors the hope that perhaps, in another life, in another time, the stars will align differently, allowing a dormant love story to awaken in full, free from the shadows of fear and regret.